Welcome back to another edition of the podcast. And with Tamworth being in the FA Cup this weekend, I thought it'd be a perfect opportunity to bring on Tamworth legend himself, the man with the deadliest long throw in English football, I would say, Tommy Tonks. Tommy, firstly, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Tamworth in the FA Cup on Sunday, of course, against Tottenham. They actually kind of knocked out a local side to me. Of course, I'm a Halifax fan myself, but to see them knock out Huddersfield, I was buzzing to see that. I'll be totally honest. A lot of my mates, when I told them that I was interviewing you, quite surprised, to be fair, by that. But no, I was happy to see you knock out Huddersfield, I have to say.
Yeah, it was a great game, mate, and yeah, I was just happy that I could contribute myself. Whether it was a lucky goal or what, it is what it is. We still got through to the next round, and that's all that matters. And yeah, it was a great occasion for the club, and some personal limelight as well.
Brilliant. But just looking at Tamworth, when you actually came into the club, obviously they'd just been promoted about halfway through the season. What firstly attracted you to actually wanting to join Tamworth at that time during mid-season?
So what it was, I'd actually been at Tamworth previously, but it was during the 2 COVID seasons.
Yeah.
So, the one of them we were doing really well. I think we were second in the league, 2 points off top with like 4 games in hand. So unfortunately, the season got cut short. So I felt like I got a little bit of unfinished business there. So when the opportunity came to go back there and the interest, it seemed like a good fit, to be honest. And they were doing okay in the league, and it went on to be even better. And I'm just glad I could contribute to helping us win the league.
Yeah, did you think going into joining Tamworth at that time that you were coming into a club that was actually capable, actually going to go on to win the league? Or was it more of a case of, Tamworth, they look like they're going in the right direction, just being promoted? Probably, I think they overachieved last season with them just getting promoted as well. Is that more of the case, or did you genuinely go in thinking, I'm going to be a National League player next season?
To be fair, I actually looked at the league table before I went there, and I seen that they were doing quite well. And I thought there was an opportunity to potentially get into the playoffs and things like that. There was plenty of the season left, but we just kept winning, and we'd have a lot of clean sheets along the way. Jazz was phenomenal in goal, and yeah, it was just everything just felt right for us. We like I say, we kept a lot of clean sheets, and we'd go to some good places and pick up some good results. And we in the end we ended up winning the league, and it's probably one of the my best occasion in football, really.
To see Tamworth as well get promoted back into the National League. Of course, it was a long time since they've last been in the National League themselves, but to get promoted, probably, I'm going to be honest, including myself, you looked at the start of the season, there was a lot of players that hadn't actually played in the National League before, who've obviously been in the lower areas of non-league themselves. And I think a lot of people actually wrote you off. And I will be honest, including myself, I had you to go down. And now I think we've all just got egg on our faces, to be honest, when you look how well you're doing in the league. When you firstly came into that season, did you expect Tamworth? Of course, I'm sure the aim was to survive, but did you expect them to be competing like they are doing now with some of the big teams in the division?
I think inside the 4 walls of the dressing room, you always give yourself a chance of staying up. And you see the quality that we have and the players that we have. It was, we actually gave ourselves a good chance of staying up. But as a newly promoted team, the main objective is to stay up, and we are mixing it with these bigger clubs, like your Halifaxes and Yorks, Forest Greens, and teams like that. We're holding our own, really, and long may it continue, because we're just halfway through the season, and the second half is always tougher. But we gave ourselves an excellent chance of staying up and being in the National League again next year.
When I look in at Tamworth overall from like an external perspective, I look at a squad there, and the type of side, if Halifax is coming up against them, of course we've previously come up against them. They're not like every promoted side. Most promoted sides, as a Halifax fan, or I think most people probably say that's 3 points that we should be getting. You look at Tamworth, and they're a really, really difficult side to break down. so strong defensively, and particularly at home. You look at your home record, the amount of sides that have struggled there. York, of course, dropped points there. Forest Green, you actually beat Gateshead as well. The impression that I get is you're a really tight group as well. Is that something that you'd agree with on that, or?
Yeah, we are. We're, there's a good group of players there. I know it's easy to say when you're doing well that, you've got a good dressing room, but we actually really have got a good dressing room. Everybody gets on. The lads are fantastic with one another. We have some good coach journeys on the way home. But yeah, it's a really good place to be as a club. Obviously, with everything that's going on, it's reflecting a little bit on the pitch as well. But yeah, I think as a newly promoted team, your home form is always key. So we looked at Dan says we've got to win as many games and take as many points as we can at home, and get what you can on the road. I think we were quite unlucky at your place. I think we were 2-0 up.
Yeah,
and I think we just run out a little bit of steam. Kind of get into grips with the league and the kind of fitness levels that you need to face these full-time teams, because being part-time it is tough for us, but like I say, I think we've give a good account of ourselves so far, and long may it continue, because the main objective is to stay in the league.
Yeah. What's the step up been like then compared to the National League North? Of course, the quality's a lot better, isn't it, in the National League? Of course, as you'd expect going up a division, but also the difference is quite big in a lot of the sides being part-time, and in this division, a lot of them being full-time. Is that something that the squad struggled with perhaps a little bit? Or for me, it looks like you've been able to cope overall quite well. I don't know.
Yeah, we like I say, we feel like we've done okay at the minute. There has been games where, we've probably, we have looked second best. We had a result against Barnet that, took was an eye-opener for us, kind of thing. But apart from that, I think we've been competitive in every game. Our game plan is always to stay in the game, and see what we can get and things like that. And because we know we can score goals, we've had a little bit of a change in personnel at the back. So we've not been as as dominant in the defensive areas last year. But we, like I say, we're still giving ourselves chances in games. And we try and stay in the game as long as we can and things like that. So it has been a step up. There's like you say, pretty much everybody's full time in the National League. So we're giving our best account of us, and long as we stay in the game and stay competitive, we feel like we're doing an okay job.
Of course, you've actually managed to score the one goal yourself. It came against Braintree. I remember when that firstly went in and I was watching the highlights. Question I've got to ask you, did you mean to score that?
Of course I meant it. I seen the keeper off his line. The sun was in his eyes. It was windy, but no, mate. It was how do I put it? It was a coming together of players, shall I say? It's just one of them things in football where it was, the sun was shining down on me on that day, and it managed to go in. But I think, like I say, more importantly, it's the team got 3 points, and it managed to give us a little bit of impetus going into the games around us, and like I say, we've had some good results since.
Yeah, I remember at that point, I think Tamworth and Braintree were both in similar positions in the table. I think you were both towards the bottom at that time. I think you were just outside of the drop zone. But after that, it felt like you really went on a bit of a run of form. Like I've said, you're just very good at grinding out these results. There's been a few times this season where you've actually been behind in games. I think Dagenham has been another example where I think you go 1-0 down, I think, in that game. You managed to come back and win. And that's something when I speak about how it looks from my perspective, is that the group's so tight, is that you're managing to grind out these results against the likes of Dagenham's and the difficult games like Braintree against sides around you in the division as well.
Yeah, you bang on, mate. To be honest, like I say, the changing rooms is a brilliant place to be. We've got a really good feeling about the club and the dressing room. But yeah, we had a good turnaround in results. Like I say, maybe the goal gave us a little bit of impetus to potentially go on a good run. But we've had some good results, away from home and at home. We managed to beat the teams around us at the time. I think we beat Foiled late on. We beat, like I say, the Braintree goal was quite late, and we've if you can pick up points against the teams around you, and then see what you can pick up, against the teams above you. But like I say, we've done quite well. We scored late goals, and it's putting us in good stead. I don't know whether scoring these late goals has gave us momentum, going into the next game. But we always believe that we're going to score a goal. So even if the game's 1-0, we still fancy our chances against anybody of picking up some points. Like I say, we played York and Forest Green recently at home, and we've managed to score, late goals to, pick up a point.
We speak about the home record, and that's something that's particularly strong at Tamworth. And I think everyone at the start of the season was saying the way they have to stay up is by being pretty strong at home and using that to their advantage. That's something that you and the squad have certainly done so far. What is it about the home form? Why are you so strong at home, do you think?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. Maybe it's down to the artificial pitch at the Lamb. Maybe it's something that teams are not used to. But I think teams these days predominantly train on those type of surfaces, so it shouldn't be too much of an excuse. But I'm not really sure. We just like I say, we've got Tottenham this weekend, but we always fancy our chances against anybody at home. But I'm not really sure. Maybe it is the surface and teams are not used to it and things like that. But we don't mind how the points come, but we just keep picking points up along the way.
Now, I need to ask you about your long throw, because it is a deadly long throw. I remember Ben Toes, you'll be well aware of him being a player who was pretty good at that against Halifax, and he never managed to score against us through that. Well, a goal coming from that. I think, am I right in saying, and you might not remember yourself, I know at least one goal actually came from that long throw in against us. I think both your goals may have even been from that long throw themselves. But not just that game in particular, but throughout the whole season, and I think going back to last season as well, the amount of points that long throw has been so crucial to Tamworth's success. I want to firstly ask you, how have you kind of found that? How have you had the long throw? Have you taught yourself, or is it something that's just naturally come to you?
Yeah, it is quite natural, to be honest, and I don't really know where it's come from. My dad didn't really have a massive throw. He had a long throw, but it wasn't, as extraordinary as myself. But it's a weapon that the gaffer asked me to use at Tamworth. And like I say, we've scored points. We've managed to pick up points with it. Against Fylde away from home. Like I say, York at home and Forest Green at home recently. But I think at your place, I think there was one goal from a long throw. I think the other was a corner. But yeah, it's like I say, it's a weapon, and we use it quite well because we've got some. We've got plenty of lads that are over 6 foot at Tamworth. So long may it continue if it manages to pick Tamworth points up, and that's the main thing really.
A lot of experience as well in that side as well. The likes of Hayden Hollis as well at the back for you. Is that something that's been pivotal as well to this season coming into this division? That's been a bit of a bonus. Is having that experience in the squad.
Of course, yeah. Like you said at the beginning, we don't have a lot of lads that have played at the level before. I think myself, I had a few games at Solihull in the past. Jazz has also had a few games, I think. But Hayden, he brings a lot of the experience from the level, having played it most of his career, I think. But it definitely helps. He knows a lot of players at the level, so he can kind of give you, not tips, but he can make you aware of what some of them are like. So it is good, and Hayden's played pretty much every minute of every game so far, and he's something that he always speaks about, and I presume a lot of the players go to him to ask him any questions about certain players or teams.
Something I do want to ask you about, because I haven't actually had the opportunity to ask a player about this yet in the National League, but National League Cup, obviously Tamworth participate in that. Is that something that you feel the squads and yourself personally have embraced since that's been introduced, or is it kind of just a bit of a pain and a training exercise for you guys?
Yeah, I think definitely as a part-time team, it has been a little bit of an inconvenience to us because we've had a few injuries early on, so we don't have the luxury of having a massive squad. So we've had to use the youth section a lot, I think. So yeah, it's not really something that, when you go from, the highs of the FA Cup to
Yeah.
potentially National League Cup, where you're only getting like 200-300 fans. It's I'm trying not to be bad towards it, but yeah, it is a little bit of an inconvenience, but it still gives you an opportunity to get some minutes in the legs for potentially players that haven't played a lot.
Something else I want to ask you as well, with the National League Cup being introduced, FA Cup replays, they've been scrapped. Of course, so far for Tamworth, it's kind of played to your advantage in a way. Of course, winning both games. Of course, Tottenham's coming up on Saturday. Mark White of Dorking actually came out and said how disappointing it is that replays aren't out for this game because, in my opinion, and it's hard to really say, but it is the type of game where, although Tottenham obviously are one of the best clubs in England, it is the type of game where you're looking and you feel like there's the potential there to be a cup upset, but also for it to be a draw as well. I think what Mark White actually came out and said how disappointing it is that if, let's say, you do manage to get a result out of that game, it goes straight to extra time and it doesn't go to a replay, because you spoke there about being part-time, and that's when the difference as well will show as well. Is the fact that Tottenham full-time obviously have all the best facilities in England, and then you've got Tamworth who are part-time. Whereas if it was a replay, you'd get the opportunity to go to Tottenham Stadium in front of a large crowd. Is that something that you're a little bit disappointed about? I know as well, it's in advance, so you don't really know what's going to happen. But
yeah, definitely. I was always, the magic of the FA Cup, as they call it in the non-league. You dream of these ties and potentially playing at some outstanding stadiums. But yeah, I'm with Mark White on this one. I don't see, especially as a part-time team, we it's hard because they're introducing more cups, like you say, but then scrapping FA Cup replays, and it's obviously coming from the top down, isn't it? They've obviously asked for these kind of things to happen, but there's not really a lot you can do about it. You have to do what you're told to do, really, in by the FA or the governing body. So it is what it is. It is disappointing, but like you say, we've managed to beat Burton on penalties and beat Huddersfield in 90 minutes. So yeah, we didn't have the thought process of potentially getting a replay. It was just you've got to win the game basically. So yeah, it is disappointing, but it is what it is. There's not really a lot you can do.
in terms of those two games, what was the overall atmosphere and the experience like for yourself, particularly against Huddersfield and obviously against Burton as well?
Yeah, honestly, mate, it was the Huddersfield game was an absolute fantastic occasion.
Yeah.
Some people said to me, is it your best day in football? And I was like, it depends how you define an occasion or winning leagues kind of thing. So I'm always one for winning trophies, but the occasion against Huddersfield was was brilliant with the cameras there. And then against Burton, for it to be a little bit of a local derby for the fans, it was and then to win on penalties. There's something special about winning on penalties, I think. But yeah, it's managed to set us up with a fantastic tie against Tottenham on the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. And we will come on to that shortly. But just in terms of that Burton game, of course, going 1-0 down, 90 minutes gone, for a lot of clubs, I think particularly when you're the underdog yourself, you kind of think, well, that's it. We've worked so hard to be able to grind out a result here and actually go into extra time, and to concede late on was so disappointing. But the difference with Tamworth was the fact that they managed to get back into that game as well.
Yeah, it comes back to your your comments about how good we are in the dressing room and the team. It would have been quite easy just to accept that you've gone 1-0 down, but we said no, we're gonna keep fighting, and we got our rewards by scoring pretty much within a couple of minutes of those scoring. So yeah, it was good. It was a great occasion, and like I say, it's managed to set us up, with a fantastic tie against Tottenham, which will be on the telly as well. So yeah, it's been great, mate, and like I say, long may it continue.
Just two final questions I want on the National League before we come on to the Tottenham game itself. Who's the best player? Who's the best individual you think you've seen in the National League this season? Kind of put you on the spot, I know there.
Yeah, right. I'm going to give you two.
Yeah.
There's a player called Batty at York.
Yeah, in midfield.
When we played at their place, he managed to complete more passes than our whole team, which was
right.
that was great. And there's a lad at Barnet. I can't think of his name.
Shelton, Kabamba.
No,
It might be Zach Blunt, actually.
Zach Brunt, that's the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
He scored an hat-trick against us. He was good, strong, quick, and can finish as well.
Fair enough then. And who would the best side or the most difficult game be for you so far this season, where you've kind of compete against the opposition and go, wow, they're a great club then?
Yeah, like I say, we got a heavy defeat at Barnet, which was an eye opener for us. So I'd have to go to Barnet because, like I say, with the lung throw and stuff, they managed to do a lot of analysis on myself, and we didn't have a throw in, so it's a different level that we're working with at times. But yeah, I'd have to say Barnet were one of the best teams. But in fact, your lads at Halifax moved the ball really well, as it showed second half.
Yeah, I know. In a way, there's a lot of similarities with us and Tamworth in a way, the way we play. We're quite good defensively, both sides, and then capsize on the break and manage to grind out results. But just moving on finally to the Tottenham game then. How's the squad feeling going into this one?
Honestly, mate, there's such a buzz about the place. Inside the dressing room, outside the dressing room, people asking for tickets and stuff like that. So yeah, it's brilliant, mate. Honestly, everyone's buzzing. We have got an FA Trophy game tomorrow night that's been rearranged. So yeah, after that we'll be able to focus on Tottenham, and we only got one training session to do some analysis on Spurs and see what they.
Yeah, is there any individuals for you that you're looking forward to coming up against? I think it was a Tamworth play. It might have been yourself that you put a tweet up about coming up against certain players. Is there any individuals for you you're particularly looking forward to coming up against?
Obviously, you got Maddison, who's an England international, and the one I'll hopefully play, Christian Romero. Obviously, he's won the World Cup, so it would be something like that to be able to share the pitch with somebody like that would be great. But they're full of fantastic players. Brennan Johnson, Dominic Solanke, Timo Werner has been at some really big clubs. So yeah, it's great, mate. And like I say, it's an occasion that everybody's buzzing for.
Will you be doing any shirt swapping with any of the Tottenham players if you get the opportunity to?
Like I say, mate, Christian Romero's the one for me. So, but I do like Kuleveski as well. I think he's a top player. But it just depends what kind of squad they bring. I know they're not having the best of run at the minute, so Ange might punish them and send them to the porter cabins at Tamworth.
Fair enough then. And just one final one for you as well. I know it's a big if, but if Tamworth somehow do get through this game, I shouldn't really say somehow, but if they do get through this game, what would the dream tie be for you?
I'm a massive Wolves fan. Wolves tattoo on my leg. So being able to play against Wolves at Molineux would be perfect. It would be a dream come true. But also my best mate Curtis plays for Salford. He's the captain there. So yeah, one of those two would be lovely.
Brilliant. One final question as well to ask you. I do apologise for this, but going into this game, what type of game do you think you're going to make for Tottenham? How are you going to make the game difficult for Tottenham?
Like I say, hopefully I can start on the pitch myself. So a lot of long throws on top of them. So yeah, we're going to try and make it as difficult as we can. We know it's going to be, very uphill. Because like I say, the abundance of talent and quality that they have is far superior to anything that we've got. But like I say, it's going to be different for them. So we've got to try and make it as hostile and as horrible as we can, and try and cause some kind of upset.
Brilliant, Tom. I do really appreciate you coming on tonight. I know you're very busy at the moment, getting all sorts of being on the BBC and Football Focus and things like that. So I do appreciate you coming on the channel.
No problem, mate. I appreciate the time.
Cheers.